The question's for both of you. There's such great energy in the film, and it definitely translated to the audience. I was wondering what were some of your favorite moments on set or ones that didn't quite make it into the film?
For me, some of my favorite moments were just working through the scenes and the musical numbers. I mean, when you make a musical, you're doing both. So um, I really enjoyed working through the scenes with our writers and our director, Roman White, and finding certain moments for the character, certain moments for the storyline, the arc. And then there were the fun moments, you know, the less serious moments. And mostly those were musical numbers, and they were just so much fun. So the entire project was a blast.
I agree. I mean, we had the time of our lives. I've always wanted to get to do a musical in some capacity. And so the fact that this got to be my first one, I couldn't feel more at home or more excited about that. But I mean, we were always laughing and we were always rolling around. There was always something going on. And I think the cool part is, it's a film about friendship and about love. And I know you probably hear it all the time where it's like, no, like genuinely, like we had the best time. We still keep in touch, but like we do. I mean, Kat's like I have a small group of friends and she's like one of my greatest gal pals and I love her. And there was such a community always with our crew. And we had the best time. We really, really did.
So the whole camp thing, and you guys had all these really cool sports, like the paint. I like the paintball round personally, especially, like that competitiveness. And then, your characters jumping to save her. It was so cute. If you had to pick one of the sports to do at the camp or one that we didn't see, which would be your go-to?
I don't know if this is a sport, but like they didn't show it. I don't think they showed it in the film, but me and Jabril got to zip line and I love zip lining. I'm a big zip lining fan. Yeah, again, I don't know if that's a sport, but I choose that any day. I think if you didn't ask this, but my least favorite one, we did flag football. None of us wanted, none of us knew how to play flag football. So when you're seeing that, just know they're yelling at us, trying to tell us where to go, because we're all actors. We don't know how to do that.
Yeah, and those of us who did know how to play weren't very good. So there's that. I think I'm pretty sure it made it into the movie, but behind the scenes, Kevin and I crushed a three-legged race. Like we were just like running around like
we beat you. We beat you guys.
You're maybe on camera because that's how they cut it, but no one could beat us. We're unbeatable. We are literal prodigies at three-legged racing. Challenge us. I dare you.
He's lying. He's lying.
I don't know. There's footage somewhere. We'll dig it up. And
we'll check the footage. We'll check the footage and let you guys know.
We'll settle this.
That's awesome. I suck at the three-legged race, so kudos to both of you for being able to do that.
I'm dying to know because you guys kind of had a whirlwind schedule of rehearsals and filming really, really fast. So I'd love to know more about the choreography and what it was like dancing in the lake.
It was a lot of fun. And the choreography was not easy, but luckily our choreographer, Melina Runis, was aware of that. So she actually brought in a skeleton crew. And how that works is there's 5 cast members in this film. So there are 5 skeleton crew dance members who serve as the middleman between the choreographer and the actors. So they would teach us our choreography and dumb it down for us. And we could then learn it and take it more easily. But it wasn't the easiest thing, any movie with choreography, it requires a lot of rehearsal. We had probably rehearsed for 3-4 weeks prior to even beginning principal photography. So it was a long and hard process, but I was very proud of the work that everyone did.
And then to touch upon the dock scene, that was actually filmed on our first day of filming, which is crazy. And I would say in terms of musical numbers, that was probably the most like the least rehearsal amount of time that we had for that dance number for some reason. But we filmed the whole scene in the garden, the whole scene when they're walking to the garden, the start of the music, up until the dock, all in one day on the first day, which was really crazy. And we were cheating the sunset for sunrise. So we had maybe about 30 minutes of time to be able to film the dock scene. So the adrenaline was high, and I was hoping that my toes would be pointed the way that Melina hoped. And Kevin lifted me really strongly, and we did. We had a great time. But it did feel like one of those things at the end of filming that scene where it was like, all right, like, let's go. We're doing this thing. We're making a musical, and there's a whole lot of love here on this set. So it's going to be a journey, but we've got this.
I'm curious because in the production notes, they talk about how your thesis was summer camp themed. So I'm interested to hear more about that and how that experience has been for your first feature film within the summer camp.
Yeah, thank you for letting me know that it was in the production notes, because someone earlier just like creeped me out just like knowing what I did in college. But yeah, no, it was a crazy coincidence. Like, I couldn't have written it better myself. Yeah, I went to Columbia. I studied acting and playwriting, and for my thesis, I wrote a one-act musical set at a summer camp about a kid not dissimilar to George. And it couldn't have been better. Like, couldn't have been more serendipitous, I guess. Like, once I found out what the project was, I'm like, this has got to be it. Like, this, if I don't book this, like, the planets just aren't aligned.
I wanted to ask Bailee, I saw that you were actually a producer on the film. I wanted to know what it was like to produce a film.
Thanks for asking. I do like talking about this because it's a big part of my heart, and I'm so grateful that I was 19 at the time, and so the boys let me sit down and have a seat at the table. So that meant the world to me. But I had produced in the past, but had read the script and fell in love with the story and with Avery. And so when I went on to attach myself as just her, it was one of those things where, every part of my brain was not shutting off when it came to behind the scenes stuff, and just had so much in my heart that I cared so much and wanted to be as hands-on as possible. So it was the greatest joy. It was, calls once we would finish dance choreography, and 16-hour rehearsal days, so then getting on calls with the team and talking to them, and just was so humbled to be guided by such wonderful humans. And I think for me, I've yet to be able up until now to be truly a part of like the post-production process. And when we found our home with Netflix, thankfully they embraced me as well with open arms. And so it's been everything from, trailer cuts to getting to be on those Zoom calls where we're pulling the images or working on the poster graphics or what the kind of marketing details will be like. And so there's so much that people don't get to see when you're part of that. And so it feels like a really sacred and special thing that I get to have for myself to have been a part of it, and not ask for anything in return. It's just kind of get to sit behind the screen for a second and pour your heart into the project as an entirety. So very, very grateful and had the time of my life.
Can imagine nothing better to be at than a summer camp when you are having all that downtime. Were you guys able to take advantage of that? And what did you do when you had those downtime moments?
Well, we didn't always get to like take advantage of it, because like they wanted us to keep, not like being like sweaty and stuff. But during like rehearsals and recording, I don't know, Jahbril, if you got to do this, but we got to go, there's this huge bouncy thing. Like, it's like in like a pit of sand. And so like our director Roman, like after we'd have our meetings, we'd just go and like bounce on that for like half an hour.
Yeah, just like a big like balloon, basically. Just,
yeah, it's like a
buried
balloon
in the ground. I hopped on that a couple of times. But yeah, no, like Kat said, they kind of had us on a tight leash. Like, there was so much fun stuff around, and we definitely would have like hurt ourselves or something. But a thing that stands out to me, the blob scene, a little inside info. I'm on the blob, like when they like, there's one like shot where I'm on the blob, but like when George like gets launched off, that's not even me. That's my stunt double, because and I'm not joking, doing my hair was such an ordeal that they were like, you can't get your hair wet because we don't have time to do it again. And I'm like, okay, that looks like so much fun. I wish I could do it like once. And they're like, no, you can't do it. So there was like this whole like like Mission Impossible maneuver to like get off the blob and like onto the structure without getting wet. It was like you know, that's what happens behind the scenes.
I mean, that's too bad though. That looked like it would have been so much fun.
I wanted to very badly, but
That's-
don't tell anyone. As far as anyone is concerned, that was me. I got all that air.
It's our little secret.
This is a different type of musical in that it's faith-based. So it's very different from what, you know, a lot of us have seen before. So this question is for both of you. How did faith shape the way that you approached your roles?
It played a big part for me. I think, you know, I had struggled with the idea of faith for a long time leading up to this movie. And really the movie was a coincidence, but in retrospect, not really, but a catalyst and a turning point for me to be reintroduced to my faith. And it's something I've been talking to a lot of outlets about, which is a week away for me was as much part of my faith journey as it could be for someone else. But I think at the end of the day, I think the faith aspect is imperative to the film. And I hope that young kids get an opportunity to explore their own faith as well.
Me too. I grew up in a very faith-filled household, which I was always really grateful to have. So anytime I get to be a part of a project that gets to share that light or that message, and especially just be a project for the family as a whole, is always really exciting to me. I would say personally, it was of importance to kind of dive into the personal conversations about the need for perfection or about the need to be a certain way. And I feel like growing up as a young girl, especially trying to navigate this business and being one that's vocal about her faith, there isn't a moment in which you don't feel like all eyes are on you for a second. It's like you can't mess up and you have to be this. And it's that moment of, I'm sorry, but I grew up believing and in having mistakes and in trying your best and in being human and being yourself. And that is what makes you you. And so I think getting to have a film that sheds light on the brokenness being what makes you beautiful and the uniqueness and what's making it you, and that the need to not be perfect is what in fact makes you, you know, the best form of yourself. I feel like it's very rare that the light of faith films shine on those qualities as well. So I felt really excited to get to tackle that.
I'd love to know from both of you how being in this film has made an impact on you personally.
I think for me, in that it kind of goes alongside my character, in that just like I came into this production like kind of like a newbie. Like I had done a few TV shows, but this is my first major role in a film. And I came into it so intimidated and being like, I don't even know, like quite like, you know, ironically, like, am I good enough to be here? And so I came in like just super self-conscious, like, oh my gosh, but like everyone, the producers, the cast, our choreographer, like everyone came in and like just were so complimentary, so supportive, and helped me gain a lot of confidence in being like, you know what, like you deserve this role, you deserve to be here, like you're good enough, you're talented enough to be here. And so it gave me kind of a boost of confidence that I think I needed for myself.
Yeah, again, my answer is going to be pretty similar to Kat's. This is my first feature as well, and yeah, I learned so much through the whole process. Not even necessarily in like a traditional way of like asking questions and getting answers from the experts. It's more like just being there and like soaking in all of the like professionalism and the experience and the expertise. Yeah, it definitely set the bar very high for future projects, because it was also very supportive and like DIY for the whole process. And in terms of I guess the impact personally, I think George is a character that I really wish existed when I was younger, because he is definitely epitomizes like being yourself and feeling confident in your interests and your I don't know, your environment and all this. I think it's further relatable because he's so anxious around Presley and can't talk to her, and I think everyone can relate to like being nervous around your crush. And I think it's lots of lessons to be learned, and lessons that I would have definitely benefited from when I was growing up.
I know that Jahbril sort of shared that he didn't really, the blob, that it wasn't really
Yes.
him jumping off of it. That's supposed to be top secret, but I'm sure it's safe with you guys. So are there any other fun facts that you guys can share about your filming experience?
Well, a lot of the majority of it, it's at, hold on, my AirPods will not be used and I don't know how. Can you all hear me? Because I'm not even, yeah. Okay, great. Kevin was actually, he got really sick at one point, and so we had to have a stunt double just to film like his back for certain things. So just as much as Jahbril isn't jumping off of the blob, there's like a little fun fact. If you see a shoulder, but Kevin, he comes in there, like once you see him, he killed it for all of those shots. But we did have to fake that for a little movie magic at some point.
Yeah, I caught a nasty case of bronchitis. Whenever I'm on a film set, I get sick. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just working so hard, but
yep, that's it.
Yeah, I just came down with a nasty case of bronchitis. And so Bailey's right. If you do see scenes where it doesn't look like me, it's probably because
maybe the shoulder's a little different. It's not emoting as much emotion as usual, you know?
98% of the film is me. There's a couple scenes in there that you'll see. So I guess that's a fun fact.
So Bailee, I know one of your favorite songs was Good Enough, and we know why. But Kevin, I don't know what your favorite number from the soundtrack was, or one of the songs that you guys performed, and why.
The musician in me and the melodies and harmonies that I love, I want to say the worship medley and God Only Knows, the God medley. It's really pretty. And I love those kind of choral arrangements. I got an opportunity to mess around with classes like that in high school, a lot of music theory. But for my own personal, what I like the most, I really like The Best Thing Ever song. It's just so catchy. And I remember it out on the Winter Jam tour, and it was just stuck in everybody's heads for months. You just can't get it out of your head. So it's a sign of a good song.
I fell in love with so many different scenes during the film. But I wanted to ask you guys, what was your favorite off-camera moment that happened during the shoot?
Ooh, that's hard. I mean, there were just a lot of really fun moments with all of us. I mean, oh, that's tough. I really loved, we got to go over to our the director, Roman White. He invited us a couple times to his house for just like a hangout. And like, he's just the coolest person ever. And like, I think me and Jahbril, we both took pictures with his VMA. We were like, do you like mind, like, if we like take a picture with your VMA? Like, because he's just so cool. And I loved getting to hang out with everyone. And I think we've just like ordered Chinese and just like watched a movie and had a chill, fun night. And so that's like stuck in my memory is a really fun bonding moment.
Yeah, such a great time. Roman's whole house is like a shrine to nerdness, and it's incredible. I think an off-camera moment that I am remembering a lot, like just being in the studio, in the recording studio, was awesome every time. But there was one time in particular when we were all like, we were recording the like campfire chants, and we were all just like around the room, because it like we had to like create this like crowd effect. And so like some people were like on the other side of the room, and some people were like really close, and like some people were whispering and some people were yelling, and we were like changing our voices to make it sound like other people, and they were layering it so that it sounded like 100 people, even though there were like 5 of us. And like Alan, the producer and writer, came in and like joined us to do it, and it was so much fun.
What was the rehearsal process like, learning a routine and the song?
It was definitely a workout, to say the least. We had, I think, 3 weeks of rehearsal, and then that kind of seeped a little bit into kind of some of the filming. And we just, sorry, let's hear that. Our choreographer, Milena, was incredible with all of us. She really just, I mean, is incredible talent.
Yeah, it was yeah, like Kat said, there was 2 weeks of rehearsal up front, and like a week of overlap with like 5 more weeks of filming. And we did everything on location at the camp. We like recorded the soundtrack there those first 2 weeks, and Melena's boot camp made us all dancers. I think that 8 hours of dance every day for like upwards of 3 weeks I've never been in such good shape.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a dancer per se. I grew up in musical theater, but but Milena made me a dancer.
She did.
I'll
She
say
did.
that much. Yeah.
What would you say attracted you guys to the script to kind of want to play, George and Presley?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I grew up watching High School Musical and Camp Rock, so like movie musical, like yes, like it would be my dream to be a part of that. I specifically did see the role of Presley kind of in what they call the breakdowns of casting, which kind of shows you what roles are available. And I kind of saw that like she seemed kind of quirky like me, and like I think like one of the descriptions was like she loves pugs, and like I don't even remember what it was, but I was like, you know what? I think I could pull that off pretty well. And add that to like being in a movie musical with like the same music director or person who did the music from High School Musical and Camp Rock and all of that. I was like, I gotta be in this.
Yeah, Adam Watts, the legend.
Yes.
For me, I think like once I found out George was such a big nerd for like the 80s and like 80s movies and that all that, I was like, yep, I'm there. That's all me. And I grew up in a musical theater background, and this is my first feature, so it just felt very appropriate that this should be the my like breakout role, or as they say. And yeah, no, it was perfect, very serendipitous, and yeah, the fact that it's a musical really like added a level of comfort to a process that I had never done before.